Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to get a video together on a recent outing I did this Memorial Day weekend, and happy Memorial Day for those in the States like myself. What I wanted to do was, after having a 70-300 lens for a little while now, shooting primarily stills, as you guys know, I also do street photography, as you guys know. Thank you for those that check out my Instagram. I usually post a lot of my street photography stuff on the Warren CO1, and then of course with the paint with light, I usually put a lot of my portraiture work and stuff I've done fashion wise and so forth. And so I went out to a small racetrack, the Waterford Mi Racetrack up in Waterford, Michigan, not too far from me, and I wanted to be able to test out the 70-300 on the X-T4. Here it is. There you go. And there's their profile. There it is. And I wanted to see not only how this will do at a racetrack doing panning shots as well as freezing frame shots on the cars, but I also wanted to see what I can do with video. As you guys know, I'm just getting into video, and that's why I started this YouTube channel, to really get into video and using my gear to learn it and also learn editing. So let's break this down. First, we'll start off with the how I shot this in stills. So in the stills piece, I shot for freezing about 1/1000 on the shutter speed, and I adjusted my f-stop and my ISO for how bright the day it was. When it came to the panning shots, I went from 1/60th of a second and eventually had to go to 1/80th of a second, just so I can be able to get the cars in the sharpness of that I wanted of the subject as they flew around the track as I panned. So you'll see a little bit on that. And then when it came to the video, I shot at 1/60th of a second, and this is at 30 frames a second. So I adjusted again the ISO and the f-stop for the exposure, and then had fun with it. So I did some panning to see how it would work with latching on, and I did some just basically panning, zooming in and out as well to see how well it would keep focus of, or keep track and latch on to the subject. I use my focus point at all tracking, so that would be the fourth option of the focus point. And then I use C on the little dial for continuous tracking instead of single point, and had some fun. It did a great job. So let's get into this review, and let's start off with, and neighbor's cutting his grass at 8:40 in the morning on a holiday. That's awesome. But let's get into the review. So we'll start off with, how did the camera do when it came to doing video? So let's start off with the review. Once we got to the track, there was a little bit of surprise. Yes, there was a little baby fox. Don't know if there was something actually wrong with it. Thought it was interesting that at the racetrack we had a baby fox running around. But it was running around out in the open, so there you go. Went from that to, let's go ahead into how we did with when it came to doing stills. So I originally wanted to freeze frame, and I think that it did a fantastic job doing that. The 70-300 I think is a stellar lens, as you guys have seen in my previous reviews, and it did not fail me there at all. So freezing action, 1/1000th of a second, different f-stops to get so that I can bring down my exposure to the right exposure along with the ISO. Beautiful. That's all I can say. I went back and forth though between stills and shooting video. And one of the things that I like the most is this wonderful button or a slide under this dial right here that allows me to switch from stills and video on the fly. The other thing I like was, when it came to setting up this rig for shooting, was I had the lens itself set for full when it comes to the focus range. I didn't drop it down to 5 meters in infinity. I wanted the full range, just in case something got close or a car spun out, something like that, where you never know exactly how close that thing will get to the fence. And then also set the aperture ring to A so that I can control it with the camera command dials. That made it easier for me and quick for me to switch the f-stop and switch the ISO to match the shutter speed depending on what I was shooting video or whether I was shooting stills, and that worked out beautifully. So that helped me when it came to doing video as I switched back and forth, wanting to pan or zoom in and zoom out while latched on. I think the camera did a great job switching between what I had set up in video and what I had set up in stills. In stills, I was not in all tracking mode, but I was in all tracking mode on the focus point in video. So that worked out very nicely. The other thing I want to say is, as I went back and forth, I think the camera itself did a great job as far as the in-camera audio. Everything you'll see was done with in-camera audio coming off of the X-T4. I do have some GoPro clips. I didn't mention that, but I might be putting those in. That also was off of the GoPro audio. I wasn't mic'd up with my Godox mic on this one, like I am now on the XS10 doing this talking head piece. So what you're getting is from the camera, as it's coming into the camera and how the X-T4 handles it. I'm really impressed at what the mic can do and how it can capture everything just as it is out of the gear itself, right? Out of the camera itself. So when it comes to how it did or how I did when it came to the panning shots here, what I noticed when it came to video, that the camera and the lens itself focus very nicely and kept focus in a lot of instances very nicely based on how I panned and how I zoomed in and zoomed out. So as you practice, if you're looking at this lens to do video, I definitely recommend it. I think it will do a great job. You want to practice. As you practice, you'll get way better results, and that's really ultimately what it comes down to. The next thing I'll have to say is, when it comes to doing the panning for stills, again, practice. Panning for racing cars and trying to get motion in the wheels, you'd have to have a little shutter speed. And I went a little too low. I went to 1/60th, but I wasn't keeping up with the cars like I wanted and got a lot of blur. So I had to make sure that I upped it to where it needed to be to get that panning shot the way I wanted. So that turned out to be 1/80th of a second. When it came to the video, I noticed when it came to zooming in, just like with differently, I should say, with stills is when you're doing video and you're zooming in, if that subject is too close with this 300 longest in range, excuse me, you're going to see a lot of shake if your hands aren't steady. So I recommend that if you definitely are going to zoom out and zoom in, that your subject is moving away from you and close to you appropriately, so that you don't see a lot of camera shake based on your skills, right? So with that, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the little snippets I put in the video throughout, seeing the capabilities of this lens, using it for video and still at the same time on the X-T4. Leave your comments in what you think and how I did, or what you think I could have done better in the comment sections. If you're liking the content, again, definitely like and subscribe. Let's get me up there. And I'm really enjoying all of this, and hopefully you guys are too. So with that, you guys in the States, have a good rest of your holiday weekend, and everyone else, have a good rest of your week. Hopefully you had a good weekend and have a good start to your week. Talk to you later. See you on the next one.